So I was watching a video, and it was about how they were talking about how the porn industry is the reason why you have a lot of people who look at sex in such a wrong way. And I do agree that every single industry needs to do their due diligence to market the songs properly, because sometimes they can give off misinformation. But the thing that I don't like that I'm seeing happening in society a lot is that no one wants to be held accountable for anything. It's like they want to attack the industry and make it very clear that I'm a pro truth person. I'm not a person that's pro this or pro this or whatever. I'm just pro truth. When something makes sense to me, I want to acknowledge it. They're like, oh, most people who do porn, they're mentally unstable. You mean just like how we talk about how a lot of the people in Hollywood or who are in the music industry are mentally unstable that came from depraved backgrounds? Then the next thing they'll talk about, well, a lot of the porn stars, they're being exploited with these messed up contracts. Yes, the same way you have people like in the entertainment industry, like we've seen many artists, whether it be the Locks or whether it be people from Biggie's camp or people from Loon's camp that talked about how Diddy gave them a messed up contract or how Columbia gave them a messed up contract. So once again, you see the same thing in every single industry. Then they'll talk about, well, porn just gives people a negative outlook on how sex is. And to a degree, if you want to go with that, we can go with that. But here's the question that I have to ask people. What if I were to say that, well, I'm going to sell drugs because Rick Ross told me to? Rick Ross never told me to sell drugs. He never told me to sell drugs. He's talking about his life that he went through. See, my thing is that everybody wants to focus on the final result and not focus on the foundation. What led to that boy ended up being a gangster? Why are you selling drugs? First question is, where's your father? You understand what I'm saying? There's no father in the household. So you end up going into streets to learn how to be a man. You understand me? Like, why did you end up going into porn? Why do you have a porn addiction? You have the porn addiction because what? And you end up finding out some of these people have the addiction because they were molested as children. So once again, you need to focus on the source that led up to the problem. You're just looking at the end result, but we need to go back to the source, and that goes back to accountability. You understand what I'm saying? It goes back to accountability. People keep talking about the porn industry is giving people a bad look on sex, but my question to that is, where's your mother and your father? Why isn't your mother and your father teaching you about sex? If not, what about the school? Do you know how many girls I've had sex with that, whether they're young or old, who never even knew they could even squirt? Women aren't even taught about their own ejaculation. So are we going to blame that on porn too? Is my thing that I'm trying to point out is that I get annoyed that everybody wants to blame something on something else instead of looking at themselves and understand that a lot of the problems that you face is on you. You're not addicted to porn because of the porn stars. You're addicted to porn because there's an issue that's going on in your head that you're trying to dissociate from. It's like when you always hear people talking about they love to smoke or they love to drink. You know what I'm saying? They're mostly doing that because they're trying to dissociate from a problem instead of facing it head on. So they use the smoking or the alcohol as like a coping mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I will say about the porn industry where they fuck up is that they're not honest about what's going on in their industry. They try to omit everything. I mean, if you think about it, cigarettes and liquor, these are proven two things that can cause a lot of death. Everybody in America knows if you smoke a cigarette, there's a high chance you're going to get cancer. You're going to get a little, circle in your neck and all that extra bullshit. But yet people are still smoking, and even at a higher rate than usual, because the cigarette companies also put their money into marketing, telling people the negative effects that cigarettes can have on you. It's almost like, I'm letting you know what you're getting yourself into so that way I'm absolved of any blame. So you know what you're getting yourself into. Where in the porn industry, when they do have these issues that occur, whether it's a sex trafficking and all that stuff, they do their best to omit it, and then that takes away any validity of what they're talking about. Because when you really think about it, there really is no difference with the porn industry than the other industries. There truly really is no difference. The fact that the other industries are marketed better. There are so many artists that we found out that had a bunch of overdose problems. They were mentally ill. Like, if you really want to even get technical, the first actresses back in the days, from what I'm assuming, this is allegedly, I'm not 100% quite certain sure, but actually, no, I am sure that the actresses of old, the first actresses, because remember back in the days, it was mostly like the men that were doing the male and the female roles. Well, the first actresses were actually prostitutes. So it's really not far-fetched for people to think that a lot of these women who are in who are actresses, sell their pussy to get roles. I mean, we know women, people sell their asses to get roles everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? But it's just marketed in a way that you are not going to look down on them. Whereas in the industry of porn, they don't market themselves in a correct way, and why everybody look down on them, even though the industry has over $1 billion of revenue. So it's quizzical to say that something is bad when they have that much money. Like, you're clearly watching it as well. But my whole point of bringing this up is not even about the porn. It's just the fact that people don't want to take accountability for their own actions, and they don't want to focus at the source on what led up to that. They just want to look at the finish line and say, okay, the reason why I can't be a good father is because the drug dealers, or the reason why I'm so addicted to porn is because of porn. No, you're addicted to porn because there's a mental illness that you're dealing with, that you're trying to block. And when you actually go to psychiatrist, you realize, yes, I was molested and this, that, and the third. And that's what led me to having a sexual urge at such an early age. You start to realize, okay, the reason why I went to be a drug dealer and all that stuff is because I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't have a father in my life. So I ended up going to the streets because I saw that those were the dudes that were the most masculine, and I learned from them. So you start to see that the drug dealing, the porn, these are just after effects on the real issue. And that's my main thing about making this video, is that people need to learn to take accountability for their actions. Yes, do these industries, should they do a better job of marketing themselves? 100% correct. But if we're going to go down that route to try to say, well, the reason why I have such a bad experience with porn is because of the reason why I have such a bad experience with sex is because of porn, then you might as well also say the reason why a lot of girls are single ladies is because of Beyonce. Because remember, put a ring on it. You might as well say a lot of girls who shave their heads because of Britney Spears. You might as well say most of the guys who are selling drugs is because of 50 Cent. But these people never told you to do that. So if you're going to go down that route, you're opening a Pandora's box that you're not really ready to deal with. And then the point is where's the accountability? So it's everybody else's fault that you're in your situation but yourself? You're not accountable for nothing? You're not accountable for anything. It's always somebody else's fault. Why don't you take the time to put whatever money you have and put it towards yourself to go seek some help? Like, I was watching this interview with a girl, her name is Jade Wow or something like that. And she was talking about how, yes, she got into the industry when she became a stripper because she was like, she didn't really have enough attention when she was a child. She acknowledged those things, which is really good. But she also stated that when she got the money, she went to go sought help, which is something that you don't see people do in general. Even people who are not in the sex industry or in the entertainment industry, people don't put that amount of money to go check on themselves, to go get themselves help. And she did that. And she also assured people that if you're going to get into the industry, you got to be upfront with it. You can't try to be like, oh, I didn't do this. No, that you really did. If you're going to do something, go all head first in, but also make sure that you take care of yourself mentally and also financially. You understand what I'm saying? So like I said before, the reason why I made this video is because I just keep seeing everybody blame everybody else for their problems. Understand that a lot of issues that you're going to face in life is self-inflicted. And when you understand that you're the one that has control over your life, you are going to maneuver better. Yes, somebody may knock on the door, but you still have to open it, bro. You still got to open it. And you can also tell them to get out. And if they don't get out, man, just call the cops and pull a gun on them and tell them to get the fuck out. It's really not that difficult. But the point is that understand that the issues that you face, it's on you. We're living in a society where no one is held accountable for anything. And I keep saying that because it's true. We always want to blame somebody else. It's women's fault. It's men's fault. What about you? Why would you go to the club and wife up the bitch knowing that she a hoe? Why are you going to still stay with the man after he smack you the fuck up? What are you doing? Leave that person. Oh, Stanley, it's not as easy as it is. What do you mean it's not that easy? If I were to smack you, you're going to call the cops, man, like it's no tomorrow. You're letting your emotions get involved with your logic, and that's why you're in these situations. Or you're trying to pass the buck to somebody else, whether it's the industry, whether it's alcohol, whether it's all that stuff. You can't sit here and try to blame alcohol for your shit. You can't talk about, well, Budweiser made me go rob the bank. They didn't tell you to go rob the bank. You may have chose to drink, and that may have caused you to go rob, but you can't go to the court talking about, well, the reason I robbed the bank was because of Budweiser, because they're always promoting liquor and all that type of shit. You can't blame them for that. You got to take accountability for yourself. So that's pretty much what I have to say. I'm definitely going to start doing more of these videos, but I just really want to put that out there and, get some people's feedback. I mean, if I was wrong about something, please educate me. I'm always looking to get better and more knowledgeable. But it's just that one thing that I know for a fact is that people want to pass the buck on everybody else and not themselves. Though I will say, going back to the porn industry, they don't do a good job in marketing themselves. They really don't do a good job at all. And that's what opens the door for people to hold you accountable for their mistakes. Whereas the other industries, they make sure they promote themselves well enough that if you even think about accusing them for your pitfalls, you look completely stupid.